Hi, welcome to Rajal Nai. In today's video, I am going to discuss about some scenario-based questions for business analyst roles because as I have received a lot of requests from different people across whoever has visiting my channel, as I have posted multiple videos relating to for BA, healthcare related, banking, insurance, etc. So as I got a request from many of the people, like what kind of questions we come across when we attend for an interview and how do we prepare for a business analyst interview. This is what generally I got. So by keeping view into an account, I'm going to I'm doing this video so that people will have, to an extent possible, people will have some knowledge. Right? I don't say that 100%, but to an extent possible. I try to cover as much as I can, which is permitted to do it here. So whenever being a business analyst, whenever we being a BA, we apply for job opportunities. First of all, understand what kind of job opportunities being a BA we get. Normally, I can say I try to make it as simple as it can possible. I'll try my level best to do that. Okay. So first of all, try to understand the business analyst roles in different areas. One is IT business analyst roles we can see. IT business analyst is nothing but a person who is working for IT organization. Either it can be a project-based, service-based, or a product-based company. So they are working for an IT organization where different customers they meet, different stakeholders they'll be interacting. Either they may be from healthcare, they may be from banking, insurance, capital markets, supply chain, logistics, retailing, etc. All that, right? So IT business analyst roles where job opportunities required in the field of IT, especially whoever is working for different projects. Either it can be service based or it can be product based. Okay, first one. Service based, nothing but project based company. Let's say, for example, X is a software company. They have a client who is from the manufacturing side, or who is from banking, who is from healthcare, who is from insurance organization, insurance. Whatever the solutions are they going to provide, that is completely relating to that particular customer only. They provide services only for that particular customer. This is all service based, right? So they are dealing with that particular client, and whatever the business problem they have, they provide solutions accordingly. This is what generally service based is. So when it comes to product based means we are developing a product. Sometimes we are developing a product. For that product, we require a business analyst who should understand the right goal and vision of the product, right? So there are two things. Service-based organizations and services are different. Product-based is different. So if we, being a business analyst, whenever we get any opportunities, either service-oriented companies will expect BAs to have an intermediary kind of role between business and technical communities. At the same time, product-based companies also. Product-based companies, I can say, an example I'm giving, right? For example, SAP, right? So Salesforce. At the same time, I can give MuleSoft, right? So ServiceNow. So these are the companies' products. They have their own products. For example, ServiceNow is a product by itself. They want to enhance their product to the next level, because if there is any product, as long as the product has an existence in the market, to have an existence for a long time, they want to add some new features and functionalities which are required for the customer to provide, right or not, right? So that's what it was. So for example, ServiceNow is an application. So ServiceNow is an application. It may have earlier an earlier version. Now they come up with new version. Why they are coming up with new version? Because depends on the market requirements, industry needs and demands. They want to add different features and functionalities to the existing ones. This is where generally. So we require an individual, whoever is having knowledge over services also, right? So that service now also. That is where generally this product-based companies works. So job opportunities will be from the IT business analyst in a generic BA normal role consists of service-based and product-based. This is point number one. Point number two. Second is functional BA roles. Functional business analyst. Functional business analyst or domain-based, I can say, right? For example, person should have a knowledge over US healthcare system, right? Knowing about Medicare, Medicaid, claim processing, claim adjudication, EDI transactions, HIPAA codes, ANSI formats, right? So this is all something relating to the healthcare BA kind of roles, right? So this is one thing, right? Functional or domain-based business analyst. Common skill sets of BA remains constant for any profile, okay? Please do remember that. Whatever the knowledge areas business analyst must be having, understanding the business problem, understanding the objective, need, scope, business case, right? So preparing documentations like BRDs, functional requirements, user stories, product backlog, right? So these are all the common things, right? So UML diagrams, use cases, test cases. These are the common skill set for a BA, irrespective of the profile you belongs to. Okay, these are the common things. So hence I'm not getting into that because anyway that you guys know that well. So apart from that, if a person is expecting you to have a knowledge over, for example, healthcare and all, US healthcare system, you must be good at, as I told you, right? So Medicare, Medicaid programs, because these Medicaid and Medicaid programs will also be customized and upgraded by CMS as well as the federal government and state governments. Depends on the requirement to requirement, these will vary and this will change. This is where generally this healthcare knowledge is what should be added on, right? That is one thing. Next, relating to banking. In this banking, again, we have a couple of things. One is retail banking. In a simple note, I can say investment banking. Retail banking, nothing but retail operations, trade life cycle, core banking related stuff. All these things are comes under banking stuff. Next, second one is investment banking. Investment banking, more or less towards managing the customers by providing services relating to IPOs, mergers and acquisitions. At the same time, I can say financial statements analysis, right? So by understanding the financial statements, all these things are comes under the banking side. Banking has a long this thing. That is second. Next, some profiles may be relating to capital markets. For example, capital markets means stocks, debentures, commodities, right? So all these things are comes under capital markets. Next is insurance. Again, in this insurance, I can say it is more or less P&C insurance, I can say. P&C stands for property and casualty insurance. Whatever the general insurance, life annuity, at the same time, vehicle insurance, marine insurance, property insurance, all these things are comes under property and casualty insurance. And so on, etc., etc. Right? So of course, there are lot many domains. For example, oil and gas. Okay, so this is one more, right? So travel, telecom, okay, etc. Right? So these are the different domains. So regular experience as a business analyst is something essentially important. But apart from that, person should have some functional knowledge or a domain expertise. Either it can be for healthcare, because a person who is from the healthcare organizations, like for example, any healthcare provider out there, right? So healthcare provider wants a business analyst who can understand their systems and processes and provide necessary solutions in the provider area. Maybe banks required, because banks have different applications they will be using within the organization. They want some business analyst who should understand the requirements within the existing bank itself, what are the applications they were using and how these applications has to be upgraded to the next level. So this is how generally the functional related stuff, domain related business analyst roles will be existed. The third one about technical BA, I can say, but more or less nowadays techno-functional, we are calling it as, right? So some roles we call it as techno-functional roles. Some people were mentioning as business systems analyst and all that, because earlier in the beginning days of the career, if you see, there were two kind of analysts. One is business analyst, second is systems analyst. Business analyst takes care of business requirements, systems analyst takes care of system requirements and system technical things. That's how it was earlier. But nowadays, technically, functionally, person should be good with. That's how generally the transformation were happening. So nowadays, you can see some profiles as business systems analyst. Means person should have a knowledge over business. At the same time, person should have knowledge over systems also. That's all. So different roles anyway. So technical business analyst. Technical business analyst means person whoever is knowledge over the technical point of view. For example, Oracle. For example, Oracle applications, right? So, for example, Oracle an organization is using some Oracle applications in their organization. They want a business analyst who can customize or integrate or make some changes in the customization of the changes or migration related stuff on the existing projects, right? So this is where generally Oracle applications comes into picture. So Oracle applications is being used by an organization called X, for example. They want this Oracle application to be upgraded every time or to be customized when and wherever it is needed. So understanding about the business rules, government mandates, they require a BA, but that business analyst, not only the core business analyst experience, but that gentleman, that person should have experience over Oracle applications also. So this is where, as an example, I'm giving. Of course, there were a lot many technologies were there, hence I cannot mention everything. To an extent possible, I'll give as much as information as I can. Oracle applications, or else, for example, uh, uh, people require a business analyst, whoever is having knowledge over ServiceNow application, or else it can be on MuleSoft, or else it can be on SAP, SAP side also, because SAP is an ERP application. SAP side we they require. At the same time, in this SAP, they have one more thing called hybrids, SAP hybrids, right? So they may require some technical business analyst experience for relating to SAP hybrids. At the same time, more technically, if you can go, for example, CRM related, right? So CRM process. In this CRM process, you may get some job opportunities. Either a person should have experience in Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics, etc. Right? So Microsoft Dynamics. Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft Dynamics, etc. Right? So technical business analyst roles, like a person should have knowledge or Oracle applications, or it can be ServiceNow, or it can be MuleSoft, or it can be SAP hybrids, it can be Salesforce application or Microsoft Dynamics application. So this is where generally technical business analyst roles come into picture. So it's not only about the functional skill set what people carry. It's not only functional skill sets, even technical business analyst roles required. Of course, there are a lot of technologies, hence I'm not naming it is. So this is where generally the kind of roles you have. So these are, I'm limiting this to an extent possible. Okay, so I'm not going to detail everything because it leads to confusion sometimes if I can go in deep and deep into that. So that I've just made some limitations here, right? So these are the three different roles which normally you need to have, right? IT business analyst, functional BA roles, technical business analyst roles, or techno-functional, some people say, right? That's how it is. Now, what is that we want to get knowledge, right? So this is the common question most of the people will come across, right? So what kind of skill set I want to acquire? being a business analyst. Either it can be a regular BA, it can be a functional role, it can be technical. What kind of technical expertise or what kind of knowledge I should acquire? So if you are a IT business analyst, the very first thing, or if you are a business analyst, I'm combining all these three and I'm explaining to you because I'm not differentiating everything. But overall skill set, what is that? Generally, being a BA, you need to have, I'm writing here. Overall skills to acquire as a business analyst as follows. First thing, we should have a knowledge over the business situation of the client. Okay, business situation of a client that we have to understand. Next, we need to have an understanding about the business goal, vision, right? So at the same time, objectives, need, and scope, right? So this is the first thing. This is the first thing which we must be good at, right? First part. Next, we need to understand that as is and to be process, because there will be some applications where they have an existing application and they want this application to be upgraded to the next level. This is where generally we call it as is and to be, which is called gap analysis, right? So that sort of knowledge is required. Need to have a knowledge of a feasibility study, right? So because this feasibility of different types, technical feasibility, operational feasibility, financial feasibility, right? Regulatory feasibility, all that. So feasibility study is also one of the key and prominent element we need to be good with. Next, some sort of risk analysis. People who are more towards project management and experience roles, they'll do risk analysis, not a generalized VA. But end of the day, it is always better to have a knowledge over risk management, risk analysis, all that. Because regular risk can be of anything. It can be a technical risk, it can be an operational risk, it can be a regulatory risk, right? So all that, right? So risk analysis or risk management knowledge is also required. Next was change management. For example, if there is any changes happens in the existing project, how to do the change, right? What kind of change control process are the measures to be taken with, and how this change control request will be taken by us, and what changes to be made, and who should accept the change, because whatever is given by the customer, we don't do that, right? So there are some assessments we have to do. Either it can be a project impact assessment or it can be a financial assessment. At the same time, technically, how it is impacting. But these sort of things we have to consider. So that assessments we have to make, usually project management team and as well as remaining other concerned people will do the assessment. And finally, assume that, for example, on a simple note, customer has given some 6 requirements to us to do the changes. We don't do 6. We may be doing 3 or 4 in that, right? What are feasible, what are accepted finally. End of the day, whatever is accepted by the customer by showing to them, whatever is feasibility. So that only we do the changes. So knowledge over change management is also required. So this is one of the things which we must be good with. Next, how requirements can be traceable, right? So tracing of requirements, that knowledge is required. How to trace the requirements, all that. And how to manage and communicate requirements by preparing different documents, something like business requirements, functional requirement specifications, preparing some software requirement specifications and all that. At the same time, conducting some illustration techniques like JAD session, focus groups, interviews, questionnaire preparations, right? So because we need to communicate with the stakeholder and we get the information out of it. So to do that, there are different ways of communication we do. Exchange of documents, presentation preparations. At the same time, we go to the client location. Through observation, we get to know many things. Right? So this is all something connecting to that, right? Tracing, managing of requirements and all. At the same time, prioritization of requirements. All these are comes under picture. This is all something comes under the requirements part. If you follow the traditional practices of application development, we prepare documents. If we are following agile practices, let's say our project is working on agile environment, especially in spite of preparing documentations and all, we need to have a knowledge over writing user stories, epics user stories, especially on different tools. We have different tools like Jira, Azure DevOps, Rally, different tools we have. Organizations uses different tools, depends on their interest. Somebody use Jira tool, somebody use Azure DevOps, somebody may use Rally or any other stuff, all that, right? So different tools are there. But end of the day, how to write user stories, prior to that, how to create epics, how to maintain product backlog, that sort of knowledge and expertise is what is required for a BA. So changes in requirements, tracing of the requirement, risk analysis, feasibility, gap analysis. So this sort of knowledge is required. At the same time, root cause analysis. Of course, this is all something comes in the feasibility part there itself. Right. So root cause analysis, know about that is required. Next, understanding and writing the business case. Next, use cases, followed by test cases, all these. So these sort of skill sets, which being a business analyst, we must be good with. These are the common things. Whatever I was mentioning you here, these are all the common things, which being a business analyst, we must be good with. I may be missing one or two points in this. Please don't mind. Because I want, as people, whoever is going through this video, I hope people have some knowledge of BA. They will see, so that if I miss one or two points, please don't mind on it. Right? So these are the common things. Next, apart from that, if you want to have some technical skills nowadays, right? So technical skills. In addition to the role of a BA, I'm talking about, right? Whatever the business analyst knowledge, apart from the technical skills, if you see, nowadays, if you see, people are asking you to have a knowledge over SQL, writing queries. Do you have experience in writing queries or not? Right? So that's what people are expecting us to have a knowledge over, right? So SQL queries, all that. At the same time, they were expecting an knowledge over ETL process, because data, right? So in reference to the data I'm talking about, ETL process knowledge, extract, transform, and load the data and all that. So that is one thing. Next, they're asking something relating to data mapping and data manipulations, etc. Data manipulations, etc. That is one thing. Next, data extraction, visualization, and all that. Visualization, etc. Visualization, etc. Yeah, visualization, etc. Using, there are different tools like, so for example, Power BI, right? So Tableau, right? So all these things, right? So these are all the different, right? Technically, people are expecting nowadays writing SQL queries, ETL, data processing, data manipulation, extractions, all that. At the same time, knowledge over APIs, because knowledge over API integration, because when we want to communicate between two different applications, API integration is important. In this API integration, we have different APIs. SOAP API is there. At the same time, RESTful API is there. Right? So this sort of knowledge is required. So API integration. So these are the technical skills. There are many other technical skills. Please do remember that, because organization to organization, whatever the technical expertise they want, that will vary. Okay. So I'm not getting into that. Repetitively, I'm saying, because 100% I cannot write everything in it, because we never know, as in this world, hundreds of thousands of technologies are being used by the organizations, and there are different domains, right? So their systems, their applications, everything are different. So I'm not mentioning the core areas, I'm mentioning here, right? I'm not mentioning all the things, right? So technical skills is what it is. Next is functional process, right? So functional skills, I can say. These functional skills or domain skills varies, depends on the domain to domain, because sometime back in the beginning itself I have told you when I explained you about the functional roles, all that. Because for example, if you are from the healthcare side, all that, you need to have a knowledge over Medicare, Medicaid, all that, right? HIPAA rules and regulations, EDI codes, at the same time ANSI X12 formats, next HL7, right? So all these things, right? So this is all something required. Next, if you are from investment banking related stuff, IPOs, at the same time, trade life cycle, right? So trade life cycles, etc. All that. Trade life cycle, etc. At the same time, if you are from insurance and all that, this policy management, or policy life cycle, right? So this sort of knowledge is also one of the key element. If it is from the insurance side, I'm talking about. This is where generally it is being used for policy management, policy life cycle, right? So these sort of functional skills are also required. So at the same time, if it is from telecom domain or travel domain, all that, so maybe relating to that functional skill set, whatever the functional skill set it is required. This is one of the key and prominent area. Next, we need to have a knowledge over software development life cycle. This is something common, okay, because this is nothing to do with any application as separate life cycle. Next, apart from software development life cycle, you need to know about models of it. Either it can be waterfall model or V model or agile, right, etc. Again, in this agile, if you can go detailed, agile is a methodology by itself. We have different frameworks and processes. Something like we use Scrum framework. We can use Kanban, right? Because especially people who are into manufacturing and all that, they will use Kanban. It's called Lean Kanban. At the same time, we need to have knowledge over XP, which is called extreme programming, like pair programming and all, everything come into this picture here. In this, again, there are different approaches like TDD, test-driven development, behavioral-driven development, model-driven development, feature-driven development, etc. These are all something comes under the detailed part of it. That being a BA, it is not related and required for you in detail of it, but to an extent possible to get some idea, I'm just giving all this information to you, right? So this sort of knowledge is also required. So this is what generally, if whoever is applying for job opportunities being a business analyst, more or less like these are the things are needed. So profile to profile, this is varied, because whatever I was mentioned here, all these are not required for every job profile, because we cannot say. We don't require also, right? So there may be a customization, because this is where generally BA is all scenario based. The reason why I was mentioned in the beginning, it's a scenario based. Scenario to scenario, it changes. Person, whoever is having requirement, business analyst in ServiceNow, they want core business skill sets with ServiceNow application experience. For example, some people want business analyst in MuleSoft, business analyst core skills required. They should have knowledge over MuleSoft, integrations, etc. Next, business analyst in Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics domain, Dynamics related stuff, applications. Core business skill sets are required. Apart from that, they need to have knowledge over Salesforce application. And Salesforce, and when it comes to Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics CRM application, we don't go for development, because more or less our job is more connected towards administrative kind of, means creating some configurations or administrative procedures, at the same time creating some APIs, at the same time creating workflows, filters. This is more. See, if you are working on application side, being a BA, please do remember our job profile is more or less like an administrative activity role. So our role is not relating to the development side, because development side where people should have knowledge over coding experience and all. Normally, as far as my experience, as I'm there for almost 2 decades, more than 20 years in the field of business analysis, agile, all that, what I have seen, I may be wrong in two, three aspects, but to an extent possible, I can say more or less like administrative role we play, especially when we are working on applications, more of configurations at the same time, not only configurations, at the same time, authentications, authorizations, creating some workflows, filters creation, this sort of, irrespective of application, I'm saying, either it can be in CRM application, Salesforce CRM application, it can be a Dynamics, it can be ServiceNow, it can be MuleSoft, it can be an SAP applications like Hybris, etc. Right. So it can be of anything, right? So it can be of anything. This sort of knowledge is required. So integration related, administrative related stuff. This sort of is knowledge is more related for us. So these are the common and these are the needed skill sets which any business analyst must be knowing, irrespective of the profile and as well as the job description what you have received. Some things are important, something may not be, right? So that is all varied, right? So this is what it is. Now, when it comes to be a scenario based, right? So what kind of scenario based questions people will ask you, right? So when it comes to scenario based questions here, scenario based questions, they may be asking you, first point, they may be asking you relating to the projects which you have. Right? So which you have worked, right? So this is one thing they will ask you, right? So they may be expecting you to provide an answer about the projects which you are working, right? So which project you worked so far, right? So all that, and how you deal deal with difficult stakeholders. Third, what are the critical challenges you have faced while you gathered requirements from the client or customer? Okay, clients. So how to identify the scope creep? How to identify the scope creep? Because if there is a scope for any project we have defined, so how to identify the scope creep, all that. At the same time, they may be because for example, what strategy are you following to complete the project on time, even though we have limited resources? Sometimes the resources are limited, but project has to be completed within the stipulated time, right? So what kind of strategy are we going to make out of it? So this is all something relating to scenario-based questions, I can say. Scenario-based questions where you need to provide an answers for that, right? So this is where generally either you have to train yourself in the scenario based, either if you are working as a business analyst, anyway, you can answer these questions honestly. But if not, some kind of training, some kind of coaching is required, because scenario based is not something to deal with learning all the time. So through interaction with people, whoever is having expertise in business analysis, interacting with them, getting some coaching, right? So to an extent possible, 100% scenario based learning we don't get, but to an extent possible to deal with interviews and all that, that coaching is what is required. So scenario based learning is needed. Scenario based learning, I also say, scenario based learning and coaching is always required for a BA, irrespective of the learning. What is that we do in BA? Business analyst, anyway, we we learn BA, right? So we learn BA, right? So we get some knowledge over preparing documentations. All that, that is anyway, that will be there. But when you go for an interview or whenever you are working, different scenarios we come across and how to deal with it, because this is where sometimes underlying competencies will also be useful, like problem solving skills, decision making skills, conflict management skills, right? So these are all the underlying competencies. This is nothing to do with training. This is to do with when we are working. While we are working, we'll be getting all these experiences. So it is always better to have interacting with some business analyst people who are is having experience or getting some coaching out of it, and getting some, so that you get some confidence level. Coaching is not 100% useful all the time, but to an extent possible you get some confidence so that you can attend for interviews honestly, or else when while you are working you get some confidence, like what kind of scenarios, all that, right? So this is all something essentially required. So this is all about this video. I hope this video will give you a clear understanding over when you're applying for business analyst roles, or whenever you joined recently as a business analyst for any of the organizations. I hope this video will give you a clear understanding over what exactly are you and what is that you want to become and what you want to do. Because of course, I may not I because I most of the points I mentioned, because I may miss fewer points, but to an extent possible, whatever I can, and whatever I, because this is an instant video I'm making. This is not the video I'm preparing and I'm making it, right. So this is an instant video. I thought I got some time now. Immediately I thought let's do a video instantly so that it is helpful to the people. Hence, immediately I have done this video. I hope this video might be useful for many of the people who are in the state of confusion in their professional career, right? So this is all about this. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, please reach out to the contact details, which will be posted in below to this video. Thank you.